What's up, you guys? It's Matt here. So I wanted to talk to you about stimulus checks quick. There's not really much news. Obviously, everyone knows we're in this waiting period. So I wanted to get into some stimulus check news just to give you an update on, where I think we are and if we're going to receive the second stimulus check and what I think it's going to be. Basically, all of the works when it comes to stimulus checks. Now, before I start, make sure you hit the like button on this video. Also hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this one. And I do a giveaway every single week, so make sure you stick around to the end and you'll hear all about it. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this was just because there's information that's out there, right? But it's all really the same information that we've seen before. It's nothing that's a true update, but people can give you an update on their perspective based on what other people say. Now, it's not anything new. Trump may say, I'm for stimulus, or now I support stimulus, but every time someone says confirmed stimulus, that Trump supports stimulus, that's already been confirmed. So it's nothing that's really new, but we're talking about new situations to make sure that Trump still supports stimulus and that other people still support stimulus. So it's not only about the fact that they support it in one instance, they may not support it the next day in the next instance. So you need to make sure that they're always supporting it. So it's good to have those updates, I guess. And that's why I'm doing this sort of update, just to give you my perspective and where my mind is when it comes to stimulus checks, just because there's so many people that need money and they're just kind of doing this wait and see method, which is absolutely horrible. So I wanted to go through this article a little bit where it goes through the timeline. It talks about the package and then gives you some information on if we really need a second stimulus check. So that's really where I want to focus on, is if we need a second stimulus check, because some people that have talked to me have said, I don't even think we need a second stimulus check. It looks like, cases are dropping down, which I don't know what they're reading because cases are increasing. Like they're basically saying that there's a bunch of positives right now, and the stock market is great, the economy is doing great, we don't need a second stimulus check. And I kind of think the opposite. You can kind of hide all this data and do the same thing that Trump wanted to do, which is stop testing so that you don't report so many tests. I guess it could also be the same with money. If someone is poor and they don't say they need money, then they're not going to get the money. So, I feel like that's just how things roll. But let's go ahead and get into this article a little bit. So it does talk about the timeline and talks about how, the House passed the HEROES Act and now it's sitting in the Senate. It's been sitting there for over a month, and they're going on this 2-week recess from July 3rd until July 17th. And I've obviously told you how I feel about them taking recesses during a pandemic, during a time where people really need money, really need their assistance. But, they're just going to go ahead and take a recess. They could have been negotiating this whole time. Now, when the Senate, House, and White House negotiators do begin negotiations, they'll be under pressure to reach a deal quickly. The enhanced unemployment allowance for an additional $600 per month are set to expire July 31st. And I don't think this should be the focus. I am not 100% for the $600 per week, just because unemployment is just not something that incentivizes people to work. But if you get a check for basically saying, here, we know you're struggling, here's a check, continue to work, there's no strings attached with this check, I feel like that'll go a longer way than, giving people money to not work. That's just common sense there. So, yeah, we shouldn't be focusing on that. We should be focusing on the stimulus checks. So we have basically a really tight timeline. I guess they have like 3 weeks until they go on a summer recess, I believe. And that's just absolutely absurd. I feel like they needed to negotiate now and get on with it, really. So let's talk about if we need the second stimulus check. You can look at the poverty rate. You can look at the fact that people are unemployed. You can look at the fact that people are reaching out to me and saying, hey, you know what, it would be great if I had this money, type of, conversation, and that is horrible to have those conversations, because I don't want people to struggle at all. So if people are reaching out to me saying that they're struggling, if the poverty rate is high, if the unemployment rate is high, if more people are starting to push into poverty, I understand the second stimulus check or the first stimulus check helped out a lot, and it actually stopped people from moving into poverty, and people that were in poverty go further into poverty, so that was a good thing. But the second stimulus check is needed, at least $1,200 of one check. And then after the fact, I've been saying this, that I feel like we're going to have some sort of UBI in place, because they're just hiding the fact that so many people are struggling. Just like they're hiding the fact that we don't have positive tests, because they're not testing, or they don't want them to test. New jobless claims dropped slightly by 58,000 to 1.5 million for the week of June the 13th, which is, it's still 1.5 million. That's huge. On June 15th, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics reported that the U.S. unemployment rate in May declined by 1.4% to 13.3%, which we've known. That's a good thing to have a decline, but to have a decline and have cases increase is not necessarily a good thing. So it's going to be kind of, I don't know, really tough to manage, really tough to understand exactly what's going to happen, because there's so many things that are hidden. There's so many things that are out there. It's just like, okay, positive versus negative, but what are they actually displaying to you that's negative, and what are they actually displaying to you that's positive? They're trying to display the most positive news for their political game, and then they can go, and say, hey, you know what? The economy is doing great, all of this other stuff, when in reality, the economy is doing horrible. And they're hiding all the negative news, like tests, like people that are moving into poverty, things like that. So I really wanted to talk about this just because it's a lot to deal with. And I feel like with the timeline, we're just basically setting ourselves up for failure. And they're saying that we're going to get a second stimulus check, but they're just trying to put us on hold and give us something. And I really don't like it. You could have so many people that are thriving right now if you give them money. And I understand that we're basically substituting the money of the country to help out the people. But that's not necessarily the case. What they're doing is they're giving people money, they're spending it, it's flowing back through the economy, and it's just going to be that circulation of money, and it's going to be very simple. Yes, we're going to be behind the curve a little bit, but we're already behind the curve, and we're going to be further behind the curve if people aren't spending. I know consumer spending went up once stores started to open up, but people are going to start to realize that they do not have money and they're not going to be able to spend, or they're going to go further into debt, and then it's just going to be a horrible situation for most people. And that's a problem, because some people just don't know how to spend money the right way. And that's no offense to some people, but you just don't know how to do it. You see money and you start to spend it. And whether you needed to spend it on bills, or you needed to spend it on, or you wanted to spend it on clothing, you end up spending it on clothing because that's what you wanted to spend it on. So now you're not paying your rent. And that's what people tend to do. That's why people have less than $1,000 in their bank account. This is why nobody is saving money. This is the reason why. But you need to get money into people's hands so they can spend, so they can have the ability to spend like they normally do, and then also pay their bills. That's just how it goes. I know it kind of sucks basically saying, hey, people need to spend money, but they do. Consumer spending is 70% of GDP. So I feel like you need to be able to spend money in this economy. So where I feel the stimulus check actually is, I really don't know at this point. I'm still sticking to my gut saying that they're going to give you the $1,200. Trump says it's going to be generous, but I feel like, what does he think is generous? Is that $1,200, or does he think generous is $100? I don't know what his definition of generous is. So we'll see exactly what goes on there, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to get the one check within that time frame of July to August. We're going to get that one check because that's when they're going to be coming back from recess. But I'm still in belief that we're going to get some sort of UBI or recurring payment in place. That's just how I feel, whether it's for 3 months or 6 months. I feel like as long as the cases keep rising, that's going to happen, and I don't want that to happen. But so let me know what you think about stimulus checks. There's a bunch of people that are reporting different things that people say just to keep you updated on what their feelings are on stimulus checks and the stimulus package. And that's a good thing because their decisions can change from day to day, and how they feel about it can change from day to day depending on emotions. So it's good to be able to know all of that stuff. But I feel like we need something in place, and so many other people feel like we need something in place. But that's it, guys. Make sure you hit the like button on this video. Also hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this one. And I do a giveaway every single week. And all you have to do in order to enter that giveaway is go over to my Instagram, DM me, let me know you want to enter the giveaway and that you're subscribed to both of my YouTube channels. And we could go from there. You'll get one ticket in the hat. And yeah. So that's it, guys. I'm going to have to get out of here. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.